So, here we are. The end of 2019 and the end of SubNautica. Granted, I stretched it out a little longer than I needed to, but I'm actually very impressed that it worked out the way it did, where I just ended these at the same time. I mean, normally with my This Week in Kyrix games, they don't end in such a fashion, and you just stop. And I thought that's how SubNautica would be, where I'd play to the end of the year and I'd stop and choose a new game. No, I beat it. Anyway, I'm Kyrix, and this is This Year in Kyrix. This is, quite obviously, being recorded at the end of 2019, December 30th, to be exact. Shortly after this, I will be recording the first This Week in Kyrix for 2020. And 2019 was a hell of a year for me. A lot of big changes, and I will be going over them. The first and biggest change being that after years of trying, I finally got a job. I picked up by Walmart as a member of Cap 2, that is to say, I unload the trucks. My original job being that I would go and unload the trucks and then stock aisles, specifically the pasta aisle. Over time, I got training to work in what's known as One Touch, where I manually sort a lot of the miscellaneous crap that's just, lying around in boxes. We'll get boxes that just have here's some cosmetics, here's some pharmacy, here's this, here's that, yada, yada, yada. And my job was to sort those. And as of, I want to say Sunday. No. Friday? It doesn't matter. I have begun training to work the back room, the mindset being that I'm rather slow on the floor. So, in an attempt to keep me on Cap 2, where they feel they can utilize me, they're giving me jobs that are entirely in the back room that I can do so I can stay on the team, instead of being moved to, say, pushing carts or working the register. And I'm grateful for that. And one of the major things about this job is that I absolutely enjoy it. I really do. I mean, we're not faking and bullshitting here. I like my job. I have fun doing my job. And that's cool. And naturally, one of the biggest perks of having said job is the fact that now I also have money. So this year has seen me get a lot of new shit. I now, for example, have a cold. Blech. I own my own PS4. That is what I'm playing on rather than using the roommates. I own a new 2DS to supplement my 3DS, which I haven't been playing lately. I bought a Switch, which I have been doing various recordings as well as actual gaming itself on. And having this paycheck has allowed me to do a lot of shit on Star Trek Online. So, yeah, it's been a real boost to me as a person, just having that extra income. The second less good thing is the addition of a second roommate. That is, the original roommate's cousin moved in, and I was kind of ambivalent to it. Is that the word? No, and apathetic to it. I didn't care. I had two concerns. Just don't fuck up my shit, and don't do anything bad to my pets. That's all I want out of a roommate. Really. Besides, keep the bills paid and keep the lights on. But that was more my original roommate's role than the new one. And wouldn't you know it, the new guy fucked up both of those. He is a thief who has frequently stolen from me. Shamelessly, I might add. He doesn't even bother to hide the fact that he's a thief. Okay, I'm gonna blame the shark for this.
Hull integrity restored. Draining systems initiated.
But, yeah, he stole from me, never made up for it. Stole money from me in one case, stole from the roommate even more than he's stolen from me. And, he's just a complete fucking scumbag. He's just a horrible person. And it seems now like he's moving out. Because he just kind of literally vanished off the face of the earth for like 2 weeks. Turns out he went to another state with his girlfriend without telling anyone. Which, I gotta say, I'm really not broken up about the fact that he left, you know? Because, fuck him. Fuck him and good riddance, you know? But, you know, that's a case of being what it is. Made some more glass. So, it's just nice, the fact that he's not here, getting into my food, getting into my shit, and all that. It's a welcome change, and I'm enjoying it while I got it. Because I can tell it's not going to be my usual, it's not going to be something that's probably going to last long. But while I got it, I like it. But I've kept pretty busy. I have that's not the button I want. That's the button I want. Need one more quartz. I've also been, doing more movies, been stockpiling shit for my channel, which I actually have to get off my ass and upload and set up for scheduling and all that, so that 2020 will actually have content for you. Now, originally, my plan was just to do all of it at once, like, oh, I'm going to have a huge backlog, blah, blah, blah. And that ended up not quite working out to plan. So I said, instead of just busting my ass, driving myself absolutely nutters over this shit, I'm gonna record what I can, upload what I can, and just kind of go from there, That meaning that, gonna do all the stuff I can do, and as more stuff comes, it'll just be added in until I have a full schedule again, like I should. Let me just ladder. I do like how I can just kind of stand on it like that. Now y'all got lots of room. Let's go in here and play with my fish, shall we? Can I release him in here, or will it not count? Yep, there he is. Cool. And now, since there's extra spadefish in here, they'll just breed. Just like you do. Sounds like the brunettes tormenting the kitten again. But I've adapted reasonably well to my new job. It's not perfect, but really what is, one's full of shit. That one's full of shit too. By the way, when I mention that he's tormenting the kitten, he's not hurting him. The kitten just doesn't like to be held very much. And the roommate likes to hold him, and it makes him fussy. That's all that is. The kitten's not in any danger. Nobody's hurting him. He's just being a brat. So, don't you worry any on that score. But lately, I have been mostly working on Pokemon and such. But I'm in the process of trying to get my channel more lively. I want to get more people in. I want to get more group projects going. I want to get shit moving. I want to make things happen that otherwise haven't been. And it's kind of a big deal for me to do that. How successful I'm going to be, it's up for debate, really. I mean, I don't exactly have a huge network of people to begin with, but I'm trying. I'm working on it. Stalker egg. Nice. I am trying to take steps to get things really, really moving for my channel. It's going to be really tricky to pull off. Odds of it aren't the best, but I'm going to give it my all. And hopefully by 2022 I can, see something along those lines. But odds are, unless it happens, this will be the last you actually hear of it. So, give me you. I want to breed you. Boomer. Where'd a boomer go? Give me that boomer. There we go, perfect. Give me that boomer. Too bad I can't pick up one of these, but I can technically get their eggs. Oh my god, I didn't think peepers could get infected. Come here. Come here, little buddy. I'ma rescues you. Alright, there's one of the things I need. But, oh yeah, I've also been rather frequently going to theme parks lately, and that has been an absolute treat for me, because longtime viewers will note that I don't get out much. It's just all I can do to make a vacation of any kind happen, and it's really easy to get burnt out on everything when you're basically stuck where you are, with no real chance to go anywhere, do anything, see anyone. So the idea that just about once a month I go to one of the SeaWorld theme parks is a real fun thing. Took a friend of mine from Pokemon League to a couple of them. We went to Adventure Island and SeaWorld so far. There are plans to hit up Aquatica, but right now that's up in the air because my funds are kind of butt fucked at the moment. So, once I can get my finances under wraps a little bit, I will see about setting aside some day off on a Saturday for us to just hit up Aquatica and go swimming. Plus, I made no effort to do it in December because we were starting to hit our cold weather. And now we're starting to get back into the warm shit, so that's more opportunities to just do fun. Oh, not that way, not that way. Definitely not that fucking way. Not that way either. This way. Between rentals, PlayStation Now, and PlayStation Plus as well, and just buying games, I have greatly expanded my game library for my channel and potential shit. I managed to get all of my must-get games for the year, that being Pokemon Sword and Shield, Ancestors, a couple others. I'm in the process of figuring out what I'm going to do about Kakarot right now. And yeah, it's not that I don't have content ready, it's just that I have so much that it distracts me, and I get a little antsy, like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this. And when you throw in distractions like work and the fact that I'm actively trying to get my Pokedex done on Sword, it doesn't leave a lot of room for, say, playing Shield. And add into that the fact that since Pokemon League hasn't happened for like 2 weeks, like it's not happening this week and it didn't happen last week, that I don't have a lot of opportunities to trade and get Pokemon that I need, that it's making it even harder, which is just distracting me further, and yeah. But all in all, 2019's been a pretty good year for me. It's had its ups and downs. It's had some very annoying moments, but I think I'm getting back on track. And it's just been fun. I've been able to improve a lot of things. For the first time in ages, I have money. And even in points like right now where I technically have money, but I kind of need to not spend it, it's still infinitely better than being absolutely broke and unable to feed myself, which has been my reality for the past, I don't know, 4 years. Come here, boomer. And that's a reality that I'm, quite frankly, very pleased to just get rid of. To move on, to be able to find something that, gets me going in the right direction. And yeah, the job's not ideal, but really, what job is? Let's be perfectly honest here. Short of owning your own company and making it something that you desperately want to do, there just isn't going to be a perfect job.
30 seconds.
So let's just get back in here before I suffocate.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
I'd love to know how this oxygen tank works, because it seems to refill itself the instant I hit air. And I'm pretty sure that's not a thing. There we go. Now I got lots of fishes. Stalker egg. Did my peeper hatch? I think so. God, that fish is creepy as shit. In the meanwhile, I've picked up several new shows. Like, I finally got around to watching Ruby. I finally got around to My Hero Academia. I got to see Godzilla. I got to see the end of the Star Wars saga, specifically the Skywalker saga. It's been a real treat this year. Now, of course, there are still assholes on the internet who do not know how to enjoy stuff, and I even coined a new word for that I call toxic nostalgia, which I hate the word toxic, I desperately do. It literally makes me queasy every time I even think to say it. But there are times when it's the only word that really applies, and this is one of them. The concept being that you are so attached to the thing you had that even the hint that something else might be made like that just destroys you as a person. You take it as a personal attack. And as a result, you'll never give the new thing a chance. And this shows up in a lot of fandoms, like Thundercats. And of course, when I say Thundercats, your first reaction is probably going to be, Thundercats roar, yeah, that's garbage. And honestly, I don't know if it is or not. I haven't even made an attempt to see it yet. I will, but it's on a huge list of shit that I need to get to eventually. I mean, it took me 3 or 4 years to get around to watching Ruby, just to put that into perspective. It's taken me a couple years to watch My Hero Academia, and yeah, it can take me a while to get to stuff like that. So, seeing Thundercats roar probably isn't going to happen within the next month, But that's not the one I'm referring to. I'm actually referring to the reboot of Thundercats, which had Will Friedle as Lion-O. A lot of people saw that and they're like, no, this isn't my Thundercats. I'll never watch this garbage. This thing's horrible, blah, blah, blah. And the show was fucking awesome. And if more of those people had given that show a chance, it might have been better. And a lot of those people, after it was canceled, I'm sure did see it and they're like, oh my god, I wish I'd watched this. And we're like, yeah, we wish you had too. Because we might have gotten a second season if you had, And, another good example, the various Transformers series. Because everybody has a Transformers series. Well, let me put it this way. Every Transformer has a Transformers series that they really like. And for me, for a long time, it was Beast Wars. So as a result, I never really gave Beast Machines a chance. And it was not as good. But it had its own thing. Because the problem was, Beast Machines was a direct sequel to Beast Wars. And the tone for the two shows couldn't be more different. And I think that really hurt, that we weren't given a thing like, hey, this is Beast Machines. It's still the same characters, but they're doing new shit. If we'd had that kind of warning, it might have worked out better for the series. But, we go into Beast Machines expecting more Beast Wars, and we get... Let me put it this way. For Star Trek fans, it's like going from The Next Generation to Deep Space Nine. It's still Star Trek, but very different Star Trek. And Beast Wars and Beast Machines are very different shows. Likewise, Transformers Animated, which I have never seen, it was hugely popular. And then it was canceled, and Transformers Prime happened. A lot of fans were like, oh, fuck this show. This show got my show canceled. I'll never watch this show. And having never seen Animated, I can't speak completely unbiased for this, because I don't have it to compare to. But to me, Transformers Prime is the best version of Transformers I have ever seen. And there are so many people who didn't want to try this. I had to bully a couple of my friends into watching this. And when they watched it, like, oh my god, this is so good. I'm like, yeah, isn't it? And for a couple of them, they watched it kind of half-assed until the end of Season 1. And the finale was just like, oh my god, this was so good. Where can they possibly take this? And then the season finale for Season 2 was even better. Like, oh my god, where can they take this? And it just kept ramping up. And you kept thinking, oh my god, they can't top this, and the next season they would. And it just basically built to critical mass, and it ended before it got to the point where it could no longer sustain itself, I believe. And it had a fantastic ending, too. And then, of course, they came out with another Transformers that followed that. I think it was Robots in Disguise, which I believe was a direct sequel. Although with different setups and such. Like, I don't know how many of the original prime cast came forth for that. Like, I know Bumblebee was in it. I think Ratchet was mentioned. A couple other things happened, but... And there were people who didn't give that a chance, which I stopped watching it. Not because it was bad or anything, but because I have a tendency to stop watching things and get distracted by other things. Like, there are lots of series that I absolutely loved and stopped halfway in. And there's no reason for it, I just did, you know? And Robots in Disguise, for me, was one of those series where I mean to pick it up at some point. One Piece was another one where I just got caught up on a single episode and never got back to it because I forgot what episode it was. But the problem with toxic nostalgia is it can kill good shows. There are shows that... Now, fortunately for me, these are shows that ended on their own natural lifespan. One, for example, is Avatar: The Last Airbender. I never saw that. I never even got a hint of that show during its run. I had a friend talk to me about it, like describe what a bender was and all that, and I thought, oh, that's kind of stupid. Like, oh, a bender, etc., you know. I'm like, well, the premise could be cool, I guess, etc., and I kept hearing about it, and kept hearing about it, and kept hearing about it, and finally, I made it a point to see the show. I had a cousin who had the entire series on DVD, and I borrowed it from her. And just binge-watched the whole thing. And it was amazing. I'm like, oh my god, this is so good. How did I miss this? How could I miss this? Why did I not get in on the ground floor of this thing? Oh, what a cutie pie. I'm gonna steal a couple of you for my tank. And... Now, the series ended after 3 seasons, but it was a complete story arc. It's not like, oh my god, they left shit hanging any more than any series does, really. But could you imagine how horrible that would be if it had been meant to be a 4-season show and it ended at 3, and I missed it? Because while one person isn't going to make the difference, I'd spent the whole run of that show thinking, oh my god, if I had just watched this sooner, if I had just gotten off my ass and tuned in and given them the numbers, we might have seen how this ended, you know? And none of them are coming to mind right now, but there are a couple shows where that thought has entered my head of, wow, I wish I'd been a part of this when it was still a thing. You know, I wish I'd gotten in the ground floor. I wish I had contributed to it. I wish I'd helped this become a thing. And I didn't. And Avatar is not the best example of toxic nostalgia because there was no other show for it. You know, it was the first of that franchise. A much better example would be Legend of Korra, which is the sequel to Avatar. And it suffered a lot from toxic nostalgia, actually. Because there were a lot of fans that didn't like the new shift. They didn't like Korra because she was absolutely the polar opposite of Aang in every single way. And they didn't like that. They didn't like the fact that the series went from sort of a medieval thing with hints of tech to being a steampunk world. There are people who didn't like the political aspects of it, or this, or that, and they never got into the show, or they got into it really late in its run. And again, this fortunately didn't cost the show anything. If anything, the audience it did garner helped it expand, because it was originally supposed to be 1 season with 2 half seasons kind of a thing. Oh, come here, little guy. It was going to be like, oh, we're going to have like 8 episodes of this and 4 of this or something like that. And it's just, that was all it was going to be. And then they're like, oh my god, this is selling. People want to see this. Let's make another season. And then let's make another season and another season. And that's just where it ended. But again, a lot of people watched that show much later and they got into it. They're like, oh my god, this is so good. Okay, they got into that around halfway through Season 2, because Season 1 was a little lackluster. Season 2 for the first half was boring. It was not good. It didn't really live up to the other one. But when they started introducing the new lore into the Avatar universe, that's when it came into its own. And once it hit season 3, it just kind of got running, and it was just this juggernaut of a show. But again, there was the very real chance that fans wouldn't give it the shot, and toxic nostalgia would kill a show that could have really been something. You know? And the examples I'm using are shows that actually did succeed, but they could have not. Like Batman, the Brave and the Bold. The last Batman series we had was Batman the Animated Series. And yes, I know, like, oh, the Batman and Robin, etc. No, that was all one continuity. They just changed the show. It's like how Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z were the same show. They just called it different things. It's still Goku's Adventures. It's the same cast, the same continuity. But, we had Batman the Animated Series, and then that bled off with Superman in Justice League, where there was all the same universe. And then even Batman Beyond was part of that universe, but that was one big thing. And then, Justice League ended, and Beyond ended, and Batman obviously ended. They're like, hey, let's do a new show. We're going to call this Batman the Brave and the Bold. And this is going to be a little different than what we've had before. It's going to be Batman teaming up with various superheroes, and, that's just what it'll be. It'll just be a lot goofier, it's a lot campier, it's more of the Adam West era Batman style thing. And, they would use a lot of the Golden Age versions of heroes, like the Wonder Woman was, the World War II Wonder Woman outfit. They had the Jay Garrick Flash, as well as Wally West and Barry Allen, And they had a lot of really obscure characters show up, too. Like characters a lot of people don't know, and they revitalized characters. Like, you'll be hard-pressed to find someone who likes the show and doesn't love Aquaman in that show. I think between that and the New 52 lead pretty heavily into revitalizing that character for a lot of people. But a lot of people saw this show and they're like, oh my god, this is so stupid. This isn't my Batman. They even had an episode about that where Batmite came in and broke the whole fourth wall thing, where he's like, well, there are lots of different interpretations of Batman. It doesn't always have to be the, oh my god, my parents are dead, emo guy, or whatever he called him. Something along those lines. It's like, you can have the fun Batman, the campy Batman, the teamwork Batman, the loner Batman, etc. There's so many types of Batman, and there's a Batman for everyone. And this show, again, fortunately got a good run, but it could have not if the fans had fucked it over.
New creature discovered.
Hi, Reginald. That was not what I wanted to do. But it's... The biggest example of this is Star Wars. Star Wars is the biggest festering cesspool of toxic nostalgia that I've ever seen in one place. And my friend's sister was actually complaining about one of her friends who suffered from that in terms of Pokemon, where she was saying that her friend was thoroughly convinced that Gen 3, the Hoenn Gen, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, was the best gen, and that every game after has sucked. And it just drives her nuts that this friend can't just enjoy shit. And I said, oh, don't let her become a Star Wars fan. And my friend's like, oh my god, yeah. Because Star Wars is an interesting situation in that it is a franchise unlike any other. Like in other franchises, there are like, oh, there's the books, there's the movies, there's the video games, but they're all separate. Like, when you watch Star Trek, the movies and the show are a continuity, but not, say, the books. Like, Reunion was a good book, Imzadi was a good book, but you will not see them as episodes. You know, The Return was a great book, but it didn't make the movie, you know. And, you know, Futures Past was a fun game, but it has no bearing in the actual Star Trek continuity. Well, Star Wars isn't like that. Star Wars is the sum of all of its parts. I used to liken the movies to a season premiere. Now I see it more as a trailer. Like, hey, this is Star Wars. Do you want to go watch Star Wars? Look at this trailer. Isn't this cool? Don't you want to be part of this universe? You know? And that to me is a lot more like what Star Wars is. That the movies come in, they're the trailer to get you hooked, to get you to go watch the franchise that is Star Wars. Via either the books, the shows, the video games, the comics, etc. And unfortunately, people never got that memo because it was never really widely advertised. I have friends who didn't realize there were Star Wars books. And when I told him, he thinks like, oh, they got like 2 or 3? How many books they got? I told him over 200, and he's like, you're bullshitting me. I'm like, no, it's a huge thing. Comic books, I don't even know how many comic books there are. But then you've got Rebels and Clone Wars, and you've got all the video games and the Disney continuity that are now fully canon. You know, they happen in the context of the franchise. They are real. They are real events, you know. And I've always known this to some extent, that that's how the fan base was. My first real hint of it was The Force Awakens, and it became really obvious during The Last Jedi. The reason I mention those two specifically is The Force Awakens, and they won't admit this, but The Force Awakens was everything they asked for as a fandom. And of course, there are people I can guarantee right now thinking, no, that's bullshit. We didn't ask for this shit. Yeah, you did. You abso-fucking-lutely did. Because when new Star Wars was announced and you got new Star Wars, your answer was, why isn't this like what I like? I like the original trilogy. Why isn't this the original trilogy? That's the only Star Wars I like. And then, you know, they made more movies and you kept bitching. No, I like the original trilogy. I like the original trilogy characters. I like the original trilogy enemies. I like the original trilogy story. Give me the original trilogy. So when Disney bought it up, they're like, hey, you know what? People have been complaining for a long time that they want the original trilogy. So what we're going to do is we're going to give them the original trilogy. And they're like, well, I know, you know, Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford aren't as young as they used to be, and they're going to want this live action. So we have to film them. We can't just put them in voice roles, which would have been awesome, by the way, if they had. So what we're going to do is we're going to have them basically pass the torch slowly but surely to a new cast. And what we're going to do is we're going to build off the story of A New Hope. You know, we're going to have, you know, a desert character who's a Jedi, you know, have him fight the Empire, etc. If it's beat for beat A New Hope. It really fucking is. They have a Death Star, you know, they escape on the Millennium, they escape a desert world on the Millennium Falcon. All this shit. It's all Star Wars. It is all A New Hope. And just like with Obi-Wan Kenobi, they killed off Harrison Ford's character. They killed off Han Solo so that they could basically have him play the part of the mentor and give him an exit to the series. You know, he could still appear in fashions and flashbacks, or as they proved in Rise of Skywalker, in actual, what's the word, ghost form. And that just pissed the fans off even more. So they're like, no, you gave us the original trilogy. I know we only asked for the original trilogy, but we want something different. So they penned The Last Jedi, which was as different to Star Wars as you could possibly fucking get. While still being mostly, you know, The Empire Strikes Back. Like, the reason I don't like The Empire Strikes Back is because the heroes don't win. Now, you can get beaten down, but there are victories that you can have. Like, I think that's why I like Revenge of the Sith, but hate Empire Strikes Back, because in Revenge of the Sith, the good guys win and lose. You know, they have their ups and their downs. But in Empire Strikes Back, there are no victories. The closest they have to a victory in Empire is, oh, wow, everyone didn't die. You know, that's it. They just don't die. They inflict minor casualties while running away. Their fleet gets its ass handed to it. They're basically driven off the only base they have. And the movie ends with Han Solo imprisoned, Luke grievously injured, although healing from it, and them just trying to recuperate from what just happened to them. And that's not, to me, a good way to have your heroes go out. And I guess the execs at Disney saw that how much people love The Empire Strikes Back, to the point where it is assumed that if you like Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back is your favorite movie. And if it is not your favorite movie, everyone immediately assumes you're not a real fan. I have literally had people dismiss everything I've said once they found out that I'm not a huge Empire fan. Like, oh, Empire isn't your favorite movie? Well, shit, you don't know what you're talking about then. I've had that conversation with people. It's really bullshit. But, so in Last Jedi, they're like, well, we know that people really like the Empire, and they like to see the Empire do awesome Empire stuff, so what we're going to do is, in this new movie, the Empire's absolutely going to hand them their ass every time. They never win. And the closest thing they have to a win at the end is, oh, we didn't all die, you know? And for Rise of Skywalker, the fans have been bitching. The people who know about canon anyway have been bitching like, oh my god, you killed the canon, you destroyed the old canon all so that you could have this new movie, etc. So like, okay, we're going to bring back the canon. We're going to bring back Dark Empire and basically make it a movie. And now you've got people bitching that it destroys the fucking canon. And I just don't know what to do with these fucking assholes. What do you do with people like this that don't even know the thing they claim to love so much? It kind of reminds me of Christianity. Because, you know, you'll find lots of people who are Christians who have never read the Bible. And I mean read it. Like, you're like, oh, I love this passage. Yeah, but did you read the passages around it? Well, no. Did you read the books before it? No. I just read this, because they go to church, they get their little book report, and they follow along at home. You know, if they even do that much. And that's kind of how Star Wars is, where there's so many people who claim to love Star Wars, and they know nothing about it. And I mean nothing about it. Like, you don't realize how deep the canon for this series is. Like, how much shit there is to it. And it's kind of sad, really. Because there is a lot to the show. To the franchise. There's a lot to it that you just don't get to experience because you won't fucking make the effort. And a common response I get is, well, this isn't a homework assignment. I'm like, no. Because if it's something you love, you should want to absorb every single fucking aspect of it. And now I've given them all herpes. Well, shit. I feel bad about bringing that infected peeper in here, because now they're all diseased. But, yeah, I have my little thing. And it frustrates me that people can be like that. You know, it just really, really frustrates the shit out of me, honestly. So we're going to take this. And, this, and this. That's 3. Then we're going to go in here. And we're going to strip this little fucker down now. It's kind of a shame that I have to leave all this now. I've done so much, and now it's all over. And we're going to take this, and this, and this. Huh. Guess it's slowly been draining power. Did I not turn it off or some shit? No, it's been off. I don't know, maybe it just drains itself slowly but surely. So yeah, I'm gonna try and bring this to an end now because there's really not much more to say. It's just me talking about stuff now. I just wish people could fucking enjoy things again. What's wrong? What's wrong with liking things? I had an argument on YouTube, yeah, I know, in the comment section, yada yada yada, about the movie Cats, where basically someone was like, yeah, this movie was hot garbage, I knew it would be, or whatever. Basically something along the lines of, I went to this thing to see how bad it was gonna be. And I'm like, and that right there is your fucking problem. The idea that you would go to a movie that you expecting to hate it. Like, I've went to movies that I didn't think I would like, hoping that, okay, I don't think I'm gonna like this. Maybe this will change my mind. You know? That's how I went into Solo, and it did. You know? I've went into a couple movies like that. If you go into a movie thinking, okay, I'm gonna hate, I don't like the premise of this movie, I'm not gonna like it, etc., and you're not, like, on a date with someone or out with friends, if you yourself pay money to see a movie, and you go in planning to hate it, and planning for nothing to change your mind, there is something horribly fucking wrong with you as a person. And that's become the norm. It's become popular to hate shit for no fucking reason. And it upsets me because there's no reason to just hate shit like that, you know? Actually, we're gonna go back down again real quick. Because I just remembered something. But yeah, it's just that there's so many things that you could watch that you would like, and why would you watch something that you don't? Like, I don't find an appeal to Harry Potter, so I don't watch it. I don't, like, go out and rent the entire Harry Potter franchise thinking, yeah, this is gonna suck a dick. You know?
This is Ozzy from the cafeteria. What the hell, guys? They didn't warn us this might happen. Our pod was almost crushed by the Seamoth Bay on the way down. Now we're hanging on the edge of a cave system, and this grim-looking snake thing's trying to eat through the hull. Come get us already.
Signal location updated to PDA.
Interesting. Let me actually go scout this fucker out. Let's blank most of these beacons. I've got some time to kill. Let's go check this puppy out. Right there. Huh? I'm pretty sure we've already seen this one, but why not, right? I mean, we already know they're dead, but this gives me something to look at. But yeah, going back to that, this mindset, the toxic nostalgia mindset, mixed with the mindset of, oh, this is gonna suck, this is gonna suck. I see people excited to hate shit. Like, there is genuine joy in their voice that something's gonna be horrible and it's gonna fail and it's gonna be garbage and all this shit. And what's wrong with you when you do shit like that? What the fuck is wrong with you? I mean, why is that a thing you would be proud of? Why was that a thing you would be excited about? It's fucking dumb. There's no, there it is. There's no point to it. And I think there's more wrong with that than just about anything else. It's the reason people are always so goddamn stressed all the time, you know? I just, recently, like last week, just had my 37th birthday. And you never know it by looking at me. Almost everyone I ask to guess my age guesses me to be 10 or more years younger than I actually am. Like, they guess that I'm in my early 20s or that I'm about to hit my 20s. Like, I had one person at work who honestly thought I was a teenager, despite being almost 40. And part of that is because I don't sweat the small shit. Ooh, rabbit ray. Nice. I don't sweat the small shit. I enjoy things when I have the opportunity to. I let myself be happy. I let myself have fun. I let myself get excited about things. People have gotten it into their head in recent years that that's something only kids can do. That only kids can be excited about shit, or enjoy shit, or have fun with shit. And it's killing us as a people. It is absolutely killing us. You cannot tell me there's anything healthy about that mindset. And I mean, you can tell me, but don't expect me to think that you believe that or that I should. Because it's fucking stupid. It's a stupid, short-sighted mindset. I mean, what the fuck do people like that even have to look forward to? Do they look forward to anything? Is there anything that gets them excited? I mean, when's the last time a movie came out that had you excited? An episode that came out that had you excited? A fucking video game that had you excited? I mean, people keep talking about how, oh, we're all just mindless drones, or we're being crushed by corporate America or shit. Yes, because you let yourself be. You let yourself be ground down by the world. You let yourself be convinced that everything sucks and everything's getting worse. And it's really not. I mean, I'm playing this video game on a PlayStation 4 that's recording through my laptop. But I could just as easily record this through the PS4 itself, and I did for quite a while. I grew up with a system called the Atari 2600, which could not be more different from this. Just in the span of my lifetime, technology has increased leaps and bounds in every single category worth mentioning. I mean, look at our video games, look at our TVs, look at our microwaves, you know, look at our fucking stoves. We have refrigerators that surf the web and do your shopping for you now. Shit, we have people who will do your shopping for you. I have a phone in my pocket more powerful than the shit they launched the space shuttle with. And people are just convinced that everything's shit because they've let people convince them that everything is shit. And that's not fair. That's not fair to you. Auxiliary power on.
Auxiliary power unit online.
Comms on.
Communications systems array active.
Hydraulics on.
Depressurizing hydraulics.
Okay. So, what do we still need? Alright, so the time capsule. Let's take a look at this thing. Here's what I've written. Kyrix here. Getting by on this world could be rough, so now that I'm off-world, why not leave some useful things behind for you? If you get this, leave a comment on this year in Kyrix 2019. I want to see how many people get this. Good luck. And hopefully that'll be a thing that's allowed to be posted. I've looked it up. Apparently, these are uploaded and voted on by committee to see who gets them or whether they go out into the world. And,
Time capsule ready.
You'll load in like 20 of them at random, and they have nothing to do with where you are. So, these could spawn here, they could spawn near the end of the game.
Life support systems online.
See, I realize I've been a little more scattered than usual, but
Primary computer systems active.
nonetheless, I've had a lot of fun this year. There was some bad times, but there were a lot of good ones too.
For liftoff.
Okay. Here we go.
Ready to launch on your command, Captain. Launch in 10, 9, 8.
Oh, there's those little bird things. I didn't even know they were up there. Let's see, you're going to want to move, little guys, or you're going to be splatted.
Time capsule jettisoned.
There it goes. But yeah, for those, for whatever reason, weren't paying attention, those are all really hard to get things, like the thermal generators for the prawn suit and the Cyclops, the depth modules for both of them,
Approaching orbital debris.
the shield for the Cyclops, and I forget what else for the prawn suit. I think it was...
Orbital debris field clear.
I don't even know, but I put in some very useful stuff. And if someone finds that early in the game, it can be a big help to them. And I hope it is. And again, if for some reason you get that time capsule in your game,
Destination coordinates.
let me know. I'd like to know that I helped out.
Phase gate. Engaging ion boosters in 3, 2, 1.
What is a wave without the ocean? A beginning without an end. They are different, but they go together. Now you go among the stars, and I fall among the sand. We are different, but we go together.
For a minute there, I forgot she was still alive. Anyway, this has been This Year in Kyrix, and I hope this year has been good to you. It's been pretty good to me, all things considered. Yeah, Subnautica was a blast. Now, I knew I'd seen Markiplier play this long before it ever became available on PS4, long before I bought it. So none of this was new to me, but it was still fun to discover this. And I know that Subnautica Sub-Zero is a thing on the PC. I would love for it to be a thing on the PS4. I think the coolest thing, though, would be a game like Subnautica for multiple people, but with kind of a research aspect to it. The idea that we'd have our scanners and we would just look at the biology and shit like that, where we could just have 3 or 4 people, you know, like one guy driving the Cyclops, one checking the things, you know, one doing damage reports, one person whose job it was to pilot the prawn suit or the sea moth and all that, and just get a team together, build like a little underwater research base, do research shit. It's just simple slice of life stuff like that that really appeals to me as a person. Just the idea that you could just play together, just have research shit together with your friends. It's just really cool. It's really cool to me. And that's part of the reason I wanted this, just to be able to build undersea and play. Unfortunately, it's not quite like that. There's what's the word? There are hints of that you can do, but it's also not like if we had, for example, 2 people, one of us could run the stasis rifle while the other one scans the Sea Dragon Leviathan, for example. You know? Or better yet, we could just take it down. Like one person stuns it and the other person's up there with a knife just slashy. Or, again, one person stunning it while the other 2 are on prawn suits drilling the crap out of it. Oh look, Jacksepticeye. And Markiplier. I watched all of Markiplier's and some of Jack's stuff. That's pretty cool. Oh, that one's kind of for me. YouTube and Twitch streamers everywhere. I'm not a streamer, but I am on YouTube. So, thank you for thanking me.
Welcome home to Alterra. Permission to land will be granted once you have settled your outstanding balance of 1 trillion credits.
So that was a lot of fun. That's the end of the year, and that's the end of Subnautica. It was really cool that I actually got to beat a game for This Week in Kyrix at the very end in this year in Kyrix. And yeah, again, I manipulated it. I could have beaten this back in November, but I had fun. And I love this game. It's really good for relaxing. It's kind of like Wet Harvest Moon, if you think about it. But anyway, I'm Kyrix. This has been This Year in Kyrix, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.